Morning, morning, morning. Yes, I did miss out on a few go lives. I'm still recovering. Apparently, what happened to me was a little bit more involved than what I initially thought. So I thought I was fine, happy. I can, don't worry about that stuff. Um, but after talking to a few people, they said, no, 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 it's the equivalent of this, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. Now that you put it that way, okay. And after talking to my doctor and stuff like that, so I'm recovering slowly. But sometimes when you have injuries in an area that you use frequently but unconsciously, it can take a while um, to heal because you go, oh no, I'm fine. It's just a little. But anyway, I was listening to a few people um, in general talking about relationships, how there's a lot of um, and I've noticed a lot of people that go, well, I'm independent, I'm strong, usually the women saying I'm an independent woman, I'm strong, I don't won't settle for any man, blah blah blah. And it got me thinking about compromise with regards to how we are in a kink dynamic situation where a lot of things that happen in dynamics, and they talk about power exchange, and I was thinking, why is it with people that it has to be specifically one or the other? Like, in their normal life, like, oh, I will never do this in my normal life, but when has to do with kink, it's like, oh no, I will give all of this sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, do you have any moderation? Do you have a scale of things, or is it just all or nothing? If it's just going to be all or nothing, I for most part, that's where a lot of people fall down. Um, and I think for some people, it's a fear of relying on somebody. A lot of it is fear and insecurity. In my thought, is that really, if you're an independent person, I don't know. It's like when people says, "Oh, but I'm an alpha." It's like, well, are you really an alpha? Because you have to keep saying that you're an alpha, that you're a one percenter, that you're a whatever. And with independent people, it's like, well, if you are a strong, independent woman, why do you want to get married? Why do you want to have a relationship with someone? Why are you looking for a partner if in your mind you're a strong, independent woman? By your thinking, you don't need a man, so why do you need to be in a relationship? Um, I don't know, and I could say, well, in my view of being an independent person, I don't have to rely on a partner, but then I understand life is much more easier with a partner or friends that you can rely on and depend on, knowing that somebody is there for you, that they've got your back, all that sort of stuff. So it's a bit of a dichotomy, I will admit. Um, and some people have, like, I've gotten a mortgage with a friend and stuff. I said, why'd you do that? You could have done it all by yourself and not have to worry about it. I said, yeah, you know what, I and he had a talk, and we agreed, all the people that I know, I would agree and say, look, all of us could do shit by ourselves. Sorry for do stuff by ourselves, but we also value friends, companionship, not having to struggle, like being realistic. Do you want to start life all over again at a a much older age? Older age. I don't know where I got that from, but there's people that I know that they've had to restart life from basically scratch, or the life has been trashed, and they've had to start that all over again. Now, people go through stages where they need to prove to people that they are independent, they are strong, that they don't need anybody. And I go, okay, it's not, maybe it's not a matter of you needing, but it's nice to have. And someone that can respect that you're your own person. I think, to me, independence is more of, I have a partner, a friend, and all that, but they don't define me. I talk a lot to people, particularly new people, when they come in to kink and BDSM and talk about dynamics and stuff like that. I said, you've got to be really careful about letting your relationship define who you are, not the other way around. You need to define your relationship, not let your relationship define who you are. Confusing for some people, but some guys will understand what I'm talking about. Is that a lot of people will get caught up in the stereotypes of submissive, the dominant, and whatever, and this is, oh, but all the other people do it this. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Can you use that as a guide? And what isn't working may not work because, you know, one, you're different people, two, different situations, three, do you think that's really what they do all the time? I get comments a lot about, you know, hey, you're not very submissive, you're not blah blah blah, and I'm going, well, what makes you think that? And they go, because you're an independent person, you can argue and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, well, yeah, I do that. I admit. But here's the thing, it's very hard when you have been basically out there and had no one to really rely on, to trust people to have your back, and it becomes a habit. And sometimes you need to check yourself and realize that sometimes the people that are criticizing you, or you think are criticizing you, are not doing it out of malice. They're trying to help you because they see you struggling, and sometimes they might see you do the same things over and over again and you're not getting anywhere. They might say, hey, look, have you thought about this? Have you considered this? Or I've noticed that, or I don't understand why you are doing this. And sometimes you just said, well, I've you know, me particularly, there's some things that I do that I just habit. Some things, some reactions, some emotional feelings have become a habit, and that's something for me to work on. It's not an easy thing, but does that mean I'm not an independent person, which means that people don't respect me for also being my own person, as not just a one entity with my partners? Like, you can have that you are your own entity, but you're also partnered. Just because you're partnered doesn't mean that you're just that thing, you know, that you're just the partnership. And I think that's what a lot of people need to really get over, is that just because they're in a relationship doesn't mean that it needs to take over everything in their life. It's not either one or the other. And I understand for some people it's a control thing, that they want to compartmentalize everything. It's like, no, these bits of my life must never ever touch, kind of like a Seinfeld, you know, worlds colliding and all that sort of stuff. Here's the thing, there will be an overlap. The worlds will collide, so to speak. And it's not generally as bad as you think. Sometimes it can be bad, and then you find out who really is your friend, despite the fact that they might, to them, some things they might say might seem harsh. They want you to not suffer. They want you to realize your own worth, but they can't do it for you. As much as they say they value you, they love you, that you're worth a lot, if you don't do the work in yourself and really believe that you are a strong person, to me, that a strong independent person, not wanting another to rely on someone or having to rely on someone, we all can do that. How you know is in the relationships with those around you. If you are willing to risk losing a friendship to help them, or a loved one to help them, knowing that it hurts, to me, you're a strong person. You are with them, but you're also independent. Like, there's people that people say, oh, I can't imagine my life. I said, well, I could imagine my life without a lot of people. Not a very good life, I'd say. But I can still imagine. People go, oh, why are you so negative? I said, no, I'm being realistic in the fact that if I had to, I could. But I don't want to. And it's not like I don't need. It's a want. It's like I know that I can be independent, I can be strong, and I like helping people and all that sort of stuff. My partners, friends, relatives, whatever. But the thing is, being able to let go of that, I guess, that definition or that viewpoint that being independent means that you can't rely on people or trust people. See, I think in that instance, the whole not relying on somebody in some instances is more that they just can't trust them, and from that, I can't trust them, I can't rely on them, I don't have to rely on them. It means to me, okay, so you say you can't trust them, so does that mean you can't trust yourself because you made the decision? So you can't trust your own decision to get into that relationship, whether it's, romantic or otherwise? I don't know. Sometimes it's a case of just taking things as they are. Sometimes it's a case of just, I don't know, outright saying, yep, I messed up, I need you to help me sort this through. I think one guy said basically, oh yeah, I went to talk to a girl, said, oh yeah, I went to a therapist and she told me what I need to do, and then I stopped seeing my therapist after that. And it's like, well, why? Why did you stop seeing? Oh, because she told me what I need to work on and I could work on it myself. Okay, yeah, but you don't have the outside viewpoint. You can't treat yourself in that way. If you go to a therapist and says, oh, you need to work on this stuff, you might think you're working on that stuff, but a therapist is somebody that you pay so that they can get to know you from a stranger's point of view and see where you're at, give an independent outside view of where you are at in your life, whether you are actually working on things, and they see the effort, or they just see excuses and the thought of that you think that you're working on it. Me, I do encourage people to seek professional advice, and to take time after relationships or dynamics to just be with themselves and be comfortable again with themselves, because it can be very disconcerting or traumatic for people who've ended relationships, particularly if it's ended badly. Even when you end it on a good note, it's a lot of getting used to. Keeping that in mind, it doesn't mean that you can't call your friends or whatever to say, look, hey, I need help, or I need another opinion. There's plenty of my friends that I call and say, look, this is what's going through my head. Am I right, or am I getting too much? They go, yeah, you're getting a bit too, can you just slow it down, or do this or do that? Having said that, though, you've got to also look at the situation, the context, and the people involved. Are they different? Are they the same? Are they going generally along the same path, or is it changing slightly? Because, as I say to people, sometimes when you talk about change, little change, the whole rippling effect, a small change can be big. When you look at a circle, and you're standing in a circle, what you see in front of you is a small, very, very, very small degree, right? At your end, it is very narrow like that, but when you go out, it gets bigger and bigger. So does that deviation mean that you are actually going far away from your original course? There's quite a few people that kind of deviate massively, but they turn themselves all the way around, so they're actually going in the same direction, but they kind of went, okay, I'm going to go up here and change a whole lot, and oh crap, I'm back where I started. Without people there to go, okay, you've changed a little bit, I can see you've changed direction, and you keep going, you're just going to end up in the same spot. But anyway, okay, so independence, I think you can be independent without having to crow about it. I think you can be independent as in you don't have to rely on somebody, but it's nice to. You can be independent in different ways, financially, emotionally, but it is also nice to have people there. Think about the trust thing, how much you trust yourself, and think about that trust, that distrust in yourself, you're then projecting onto other people. You know, basically you hate what you yourself do, and you see it in other people because that's what you're looking for. It's quite common. A lot of people do it. I do it at times. It's a big thing to recognize that in yourself and check yourself. So that went on a bit longer than I thought I had best be going. Definitely, I think I will take it easy for the next couple of weeks till I see my doctor again. Yes, that whole being independent, but things need to be done. Again, kind of sliding back there. I know. People have told me, I know, but sometimes you don't get it until someone puts it in such a way that you understand, like, directly. Not like it's kind of, not like it's a sort of, it has to be, no, this equals that. And you go, okay. And so thank you, Sonia, for that as well. Yeah, I did need a kick in the pants. I did. I admit that. Because, well, being too independent, just remember, the dint of you, the fact that you are a singular person, you are actually independent of somebody else. You know, the proof, the only thing, and the only person you need to prove it to is yourself, and generally, you are your harshest critic. So, be careful of that, you know. I'll catch you later, guys. It's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I plan on relaxing. Bye.